Hi, this is Chris Frew with BioBuzz here at the QNova LifeSciences Partnering Forum at JP Morgan Healthcare Week. And I'm excited to be joined by Tim Lew, Managing Director, Life Sciences and Healthcare Venture Banking at Stifel Bank. Tim, welcome.
Thank you so much for being here. Thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for sitting down and joining me today. Love it if you could just start off. Tell us a little about Stifel Bank and kind of the work you do and who you really serve.
Yeah, so Stifel Bank itself has been around for a long time, mainly on the private wealth side. And then it slowly transitioned in kind of the 80s. They purchased a investment bank. And so about 8 years ago, they started a commercial bank. And then let's call it 5 years ago, they built out the venture side. And realistically, after the events that happened 2.5 years ago at SVB, a team from SVB came over and kind of built up the Stifel venture banking side.
Mhm.
So I'm on the venture banking side. It's a commercial bank, and my role there is really just focused on the early stage life science and healthcare clients. And so it's sometimes less banking and more community building, ecosystem building, helping them get together, just understand and how to get to that kind of next inflection point.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about how important the ecosystem is this week in general, just supporting one another, especially in those early stages that everybody's trying to get through right now.
Yeah.
Um, and just for clarity for everybody, venture banking, how do you define that for people listening that might not understand the difference between banking and venture banking?
Yeah, I mean, venture banking, we are specifically focused on companies that are venture backed.
Mhm.
So these companies that are going to venture capital to help them build their businesses, and it's great. If you can do this without venture backing, and you're going friends and family, government routes, that's great. Our business is focused on companies that are using venture capital to build their companies.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people looking for that this week.
There is a lot of people, and it feels really good. I mean, I've been to this conference 2 years, and this year just it feels different. There's more people in the room. There's more buzz out there. Maybe it helps that the sun is out, and people are able to walk from here and there. But yeah, there's been a few tough years in the venture capital
Yeah.
world. It feels like things are going to open up. Fingers crossed for 2026.
That's good. I would love to explore that a little bit. What are some of those, what are some of the trends that you're hearing about or the themes that you're hearing about this week?
Yeah, I mean, across the board, I think everyone, as AI, AI. How do how is it embedded? How are you using it? Has always been a thing. I think some of these other trends that you're starting to see, and something that I think is really interesting is like, GLP has opened up this market that people realized you have a commercial opportunity with people paying out of pocket. Let's call it between $200 to $1,000, and you put that over a year. That's a good amount of money that I think people didn't realize that wasn't accessible. And so, are there going to be markets that are opening up around there? Another trend I talked about in the QNova was, and I think it's going to be real, is just this combination of personalized medicine and AI, and just making things a lot more personalized, specific to people. And if it's a device, if it's a piece of software, if it's an app. Those are some trends I'm seeing. And yeah, I'm also just generally seeing some of these big corporate strategic partners really looking for companies to invest in and kind of build. Where last year it was a little more cautious, and this year it seems like, hey, 2026 looks good. Let's start doing this, and start building some bridges, and moving on.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Really, what's the temperature you're seeing from biopharma and the bigger pharma partners, and in terms of partnering, and even some of them have their venture arms, but what's the temperature you're seeing out of them?
Yeah, it's good. I would say in 2025, what we saw a trend of a barbell. We saw really early stage stuff, but then we also saw a jump on the late stage. What's more commercial ready? What's going to get to the clinic? What's going to do your human trials? And so you saw investments on kind of both sides. It feels like it's still the same. Where can we put bets in early, but also what's kind of closer to the end. But in general, it feels like there is more support across all stages. Now catching the A and the B and the C's, where last year, if you were a company raising an A or a B, it was tough. Um, so I think it's a little more optimistic, cautiously optimistic for folks in those middle stages.
That's good. Actually, I was talking with someone earlier, and they said that this year they are dropping cautious out of their cautious optimism. So they raised it. I'm not asking you to do the same, I'm just saying that I heard that already.
I'm generally an optimistic person, half, glass is half full.
Yeah.
But I also went into 2025 thinking that, and then we had, change of administration. We had some things that, put a little damper on the momentum. So I'm going to keep cautious in there.
Yeah.
But why don't we check in middle of the year?
I would love
So,
to do
yeah.
that. Yeah, I would love to do that. This event, there is an amount of energy that comes into it. But you talked about the ecosystem earlier. We're here at the QNova, MTEC event. What's it been like working with them and being part of the forum? I'd love to hear any feedback you have on that.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I think QNova itself paired up with MTEC, you get a lean towards the military and the government. So you get a lot of these almost companies and people that have a de-risked, technology that's gone through some funding or gone through some stuff early on. So it's been awesome. The buzz here, you walk by that front part where there's people and there's always just people spilling out all over. There's always conversations going on. There's always people connecting. So that's so great to hear. And so lucky to have Jim have a line into a primo conference room at the Hilton. I mean, this is like the epicenter of the world right now, right? I mean, you see thousands of people literally walking by. So yeah, it's a great buzz.
That's great. Last question for you as we wrap up. There's a lot of founders and early stage companies here. What's your one piece of advice coming from your seat in venture banking? What's your one piece of advice to help them prepare for this year if they're going into financial decisions?
Yeah, I think it's execution. I think it's finding the plan and the way to actually execute. And you can have a lot of talk and a lot of words, but like inevitably it comes down to like, how do I do this? And it's less about like, this is the promise or the future. This is the money that we're going to bring in, but like more like the actionable items that you can do in the short term. Yes, you need to build the story, the long vision. This is where we're going to be in a year or 5 years, but like, this is what's going to happen in the next month. And this is what we've done. I think people want to see. And then I would say the other part of it is, be open to networking, use the resources you have around you, talk to people, use leadership opportunities, use experienced people and teams. There's a lot of people out there that have done this before. And if you're a first time founder, don't be shy to like ask for advice, ask for help, go to events, use all of your partners in the ecosystem. If it's banking, if it's accounting, use them, pull together what you can because it's a long journey and you need all the help you can get.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those two probably go hand in hand, right? So, if you have the network and you're doing that, you can stay focused and execute with them.
Yeah.
By your side.
And it's a hard job because then on top of that, you have to balance the science and like getting the data and not just running a business and keeping the lights on and raising money at the same time and executing on all the promises. So, I'm glad to be standing on the sideline watching, and I will help it as much as possible. But it's a tough job being a founder.
Tough job.
So,
well, they got partners like you, partners like QNova and MedTech. So, I think the partnerships and the ecosystem makes it a little bit easier, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
So I hope you're right this year, Tim. Cautiously optimistic is still better than last year, and I would love to check with you mid-year and see where we're at and if we can upgrade that at all.
Sounds good. Happy to do it.
Thanks, Tim. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much.
Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure. This is Frew with BioBuzz.